So today, I'm finally making the switch from this to this. Okay, as you already guessed it, I'm switching from a traditional skateboard to an electric skateboard, which is this one here. And I wanted to let you guys know from a beginner standpoint in electric skateboarding that there are a couple of differences between those two, so that if you do decide to take that switch from a traditional skateboard into an electric one, you'll be somewhat prepared. I was not prepared. So here are the few things that I would like to share with you before you yourself get one of these bad boys. Alright, so a few key differences between this one and this traditional board off the bat is, wow, yeah, you guessed it, it's the weight. This one weighs pretty heavy. When picking up the other board, it feels like it's at least double the weight of my G-Bomb. So my G-Bomb is about, what, maybe 8 pounds? Around there about. And this one feels more like 16 or 17. So when I actually put them on scale, this one clocks in or weighs in at 17 and a half pounds. So that's a pretty heavy board, at least compared to my G-Bomb. And what that equates to is actually a harder time pushing the board forward if you ever had to push the board. And I'm talking about the boosted board. That's a lot of weight to push forward compared to an 8-pound push board. I mean, it makes sense. You know, for a long distance push pump, you need a light board to be able to put your energy where it's needed, basically in carving and waving back and forth and moving forward. But, you know, with an electric skateboard, come on, you don't need any of that stuff, right? You have the motor. You have the motor to do all that work for you with the battery and everything. All you need to do is basically just, you know, get your remote and you basically push forward to go and then push backward to stop. The next thing that was different about the switching over to the electric board is when you look at this board and how the trucks are lower to the ground. And I measured the distance. This is about 3.5 inches off the ground, okay? While the boosted board sits pretty high up. This is about, I think when I measured it, it's 5.5 or so. So there's a 2-inch difference between the two boards. And it's something to get used to. Again, if in the situation where you run out of battery, you have to push the boosted board, there's a 2-inch difference between the height where your foot sets on the ground to push yourself forward. And what I notice is doing so makes your leg tired faster. But again, it is an electric skateboard. All you gotta do is move forward. Just make sure that when you do so, when you're cruising around, make sure to look at your battery charge by tapping that little button down here, and it'll tell you, well, it'll tell you when my board is on. And the way you turn it on is right here. Da-da-da! Yeah, so make sure you look at your remote control. It'll tell you how much juice you have left when you're riding around, so that you don't have to get into a situation where you have to push the board, or even worse, carry the board home. And you know, even at the short range of 7 miles, that's a pretty long hike back to where you need to be. And so just make sure to click that little button to show you how much you have, and then plan your ride home accordingly. So another thing that I noticed about riding this electric skateboard is how the trucks are set up. All right, so with the G-Bomb, with something like this, where the board is specifically designed for long distance pumping, it has to be a very responsive board in order to carve back and forth really fast to go forward. And that's fine with this one because I can only achieve at least a maximum speed of maybe 6 miles an hour, if at that. So that's actually not very fast. It's nice cruising speed, you know, waving back and forth, cruising down the road. But compared to an electric skateboard, man, this sucker, it goes up to 22 miles an hour. Now I have not tried that yet because I'm a little scared, and going at 16 miles an hour where mode 2 is, that's actually kind of my sweet spot. And I'm talking about a sweet spot is because, again, talking about the responsiveness of the board, this one on things that go fast, you want your trucks tighter. You want to tighten your trucks tighter so that when you're going that fast, you don't get wobble. The wobble of death is what they call it. So what that is when you're going really fast down the road, all of a sudden your board starts skidding back and forth, and then the board goes that way and it throws you the other way on your butt. Yeah, that's at 22 miles an hour, that's not a good thing. Even at 10 miles an hour or 16 miles an hour, I don't think that's very healthy for you, landing on your butt, and you know, you're gonna hurt yourself for sure. So yeah, so I find myself trying to find that sweet spot where I can still carve and cruise around. I'm not really a speed demon in a sense that I want to go all out. I want to get the fastest electric skateboard. No, I'm happy where I can actually avoid things and carve back and forth in a cruising type setting. So mode 2 or mode 3, where 60 miles, between 16 and 20 miles an hour, or less than 20 miles an hour, maybe like around 16 miles an hour, that's my sweet spot. But I'm still trying to figure out the sweet point of where you can carve naturally and have that good turning radius without getting that speed wobble at 16 miles an hour. Because anything I at least on my end when I was writing this, anything less than 16 miles an hour, it's okay. It's not that fun. Once you pick up speed and feel that acceleration on these boards, man, now you're talking about fun. So maybe down the road, when I'm more comfortable riding something like this, I'll switch over to mode 3 and go from there. So another thing to consider before getting one of these, prepare yourself for your weight distribution. It's kind of funky with this board. On a regular traditional skateboard, what I found out, or now that I have something to compare it with, when you get on the board, I'm a goofy stance. So goofy meaning my right side of my body sits on the front side of the skateboard moving forward, and my rear leg is at the back of the truck. So what ended up happening is, what I felt the difference riding this one and the boosted board is all your weight distribution, I think at least it's the total opposite. Meaning when you go on this board, on a traditional skateboard, at least my weight distribution is always towards the front of the board, because my other leg is kicking on the ground to move forward, right? But on this board, there's no kicking involved, so both your legs are distributed on the board towards the front and the back. But once it starts going forward, all that momentum throws you towards the back. So if you're not careful, like I wasn't in the beginning, I just gunned it because I was, I guess, overconfident. Or overconfident that, you know, hey, I've been riding skateboards for a long time. You know, what difference, what could it be? There's a difference. This board is a totally different animal, okay? So don't make the same mistake as me. That's why I'm making this video for you guys. Weight distribution, totally different on this one. Board moves forward when you accelerate. All that momentum will swing you backwards. So what I notice is all my weight during the time riding this thing, accelerating and stuff, is towards the back, towards my back leg. So that's my weak leg, in a sense that on a traditional skateboarding term, my front leg is the one that carries most of the weight most of the time because I'm kicking. But on this one, the weight distribution goes to my rear leg. And then after a while, after a few miles riding this thing, accelerating, you know, my leg got tired. I even got a cramp at the end of the day. So just something to look out for. Your weight distribution is totally the opposite, at least from my experience. And then when braking, now that's another kicker. All right, so the braking on this one is pretty smooth on the boosted boards, but if you're not familiar on the braking yet, like I did again, you stomp forward, or you stomp backwards, no, forward to stop, to make a deceleration. You know, I flew towards the front. So first item in the safety gear equipment is no other than a helmet. Get yourself a helmet and put it on. All right. So guys, this is a no-brainer. Wear your helmet when you're riding one of these things. I usually don't wear a helmet. I know. But switching over to an electric skateboard, going at speeds at, you know, my max speed at 16 miles per hour, it really made me consider wearing safety gear, especially a helmet. So get your helmet, put it on, and make sure when you put it on, don't be one of those people that don't like to click their chin strap, because might as well not wear a helmet. I guarantee you when you fall down, that helmet is going to be the first thing that flies off your head, and your head will touch the ground, and that defeats the purpose of wearing a helmet. So put your helmet on, make sure you strap it on and clip it on so it doesn't fall off. All right, it's supposed to protect you, protect your noggin. So the next item that I think it's important to wear, some sort of hand protection, especially your wrists. You know, when you fly off the board forward, you hit a rock or a crack on the road, and you're flying forward like Superman, I guarantee you'll land on your head, on your wrist, and then yeah, it's really no fun. I have these gloves. These are from 888, and these are the wrist guards versions, where you have a plastic piece on your palm, protecting your palm and your wrist, and also a metal plate. I think that's a metal plate or plastic plate that puts your upper wrist in a position where it doesn't snap, you know, back and forth when you do take a spill. And it's not a matter of if you're going to take a spill, it's a matter of when. With these boards, it's just a matter of when. You will take a spill, I guarantee it. But yeah, so here's the thing though. I wore this with my G-Bomb, riding, cruising at 6 miles an hour top speed. It's fine, okay, because you're not holding anything. But with the electric skateboard, where you have a yeah, let me put this on. Oh my goodness, my hands are sweaty. Okay, so protect your wrist, right? You fall down, nice. You have protection here, you have protection here, and it feels nice. All right, that's fine if you're riding anything without holding some sort of remote. With this, what I found out is when you're holding this remote, it's hard to keep a hold. I mean, it's doable, but it's very uncomfortable. I can't really feel the rotation of the wheel. It's kind of awkward, and there's not much space between the remote when you're trying to grip it. It's kind of weird. So if you have any suggestions on safety gear for your hands that actually work, that protects your palm, but still pretty comfortable to hold a remote to go, please leave a comment and let me know, because I'm on the lookout for different gloves. So yeah. Alright guys, so that's it for this video. I hope it was educational or at least entertaining. I hope that with all the safety gear and things like that, I have not scared you to switch over to an electric skateboard. It's just common sense. You know, if you're going this fast, you should have some sort of protective gear when you do take a spill. Alright guys, remember, it's never too late to try something new. Just make sure you gear up. We'll see you next time. This is Dino. Ciao.